5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's time to count down reality TV's most talked about moments with Amanda Bella. Hey everybody, welcome back to Bella Talks TV. This is Amanda Bella here, and you're in for another treat because when is the Bravoverse not serving, and when is reality TV just not on a constant loop of news, of breaking news? In fact, I just had some myself right before I was recording, so we're going to save it to talk about it in my top 5 countdown. If it's your first time here to Bella Talks TV, my show is typically a top 5 reality TV countdown of just the most talked about moments of the week. And, this is all in my opinion. So it's not like I'm quantifying, I'm not like counting likes. This isn't Dancing with the Stars. There aren't people like voting. It's just my opinion. But I really do feel like I have my finger like on the pulse. I'm the Sheena Shea of Bravo content creating. And I want to make sure that I'm got my pulse on the beat and that I'm here giving you guys the latest, because there's just always, that's why I chose to start this podcast, which has now been a couple of years. Go back, check out the archive. I always thinking about ways to expand and to promote the pod, because I'm not like the best at I do my Instagram posts, I do my TikTok posts, but I'm trying to think of things outside of the box to really get people to notice or care. I mean, BravoCon is coming up. And again, if you're going and you haven't let me know yet, shame on you, because let's get together. Let's hang. Like, we're going to get together, the big group. Like, don't be shy. And I've really created quite the little world for myself here in creating content, the people that I've made, the connections that I've made, and now the Bravo celebrities that I've met, and all of the events that I've attended. So it's just really turned itself into like a side project that I didn't expect to be so time consuming, but also I mean that in the best way possible. So I guess I didn't expect it to just continue on like this and grow to what it's been so far. And I have so many more plans and goals for where I want to take it in the future too. So BravoCon's just going to be great. And I decided what I'm going to do on the first day is definitely wear a shirt that says that just shamelessly promotes Bella Talks TV. I don't care. I really don't care. I've been to so many of these events. I went to Bravo Fan Fest in Miami and I dressed up as Bronwyn. No one else is doing that. You're not going to see anyone else doing that. You're not going to see anybody dressed up in any type of costume. A girl's dress for BravoCon, I would say they would dress for a night out, like a happy hour. They'll be looking cute, dresses, cute outfits, a lot of shirts with sayings, a lot of Bravo merch. And I have a couple ideas of what I'm going to do, but I'm just going to be trying to get my name out there, handing out things. Another really good idea that I have that I've been I don't want to even usually tell anybody my ideas out here, but I trust you guys. I trust the Bellas. But I want to do a thing with Polaroids. I think that's a great way to stand out there. So when I'm doing my photo ops, I can have a really cute Polaroid that has my handle or a little sticker or something, some way, maybe even a QR code, something. I got to get these made because BravoCon's in a month. But I want to have something that then I can hand out to people that I take pictures with, little a memento. And I also, wow, this is really motivating me to remember that I need to get on to Vistaprint ASAP, because I also want to hand out something. And it sounds gross or weird to hand out hand sanitizers or lip balms, but those are two things that if you've ever been to Vegas before, you don't realize how much you need. So I think I'm going to hand out little monogrammed something like that to people. I'm trying to decide. I don't want to be too wasteful because I don't want it to be adding to a landfill, but I do want to have something to give out, something to be giving people, and just a way for people to remember. Because it's you think you're going to remember, but this is also a huge drinking event for some reason. So I feel when you meet people in line for doing things, photo ops, for at the bar, for getting to the panels, if you're sitting next to people and they're and you tell them, oh, Bella Talks TV, you always think they're going to remember and follow you and support you. And no shade, but they don't. I don't remember. I mean, there are, of course, the people that I've met through these events that are besties now. And then there are people that unfortunately, we never spoke again. That makes me sad. So just want to be doing my part. If you guys have any really good, cute ideas that are kind of cheap. Also, speaking of BravoCon merch, there's really good stuff on Etsy. I got 2 shirts. One shirt says, "This isn't my first BravoCon," and I love it. And it's like Andy on a horse. And then I also got another one that says Bravo Social Club. That's kind of like Vegas themed, that Rhea, friend of the pod, Coffee Meets Vodka, that, we're teaming up out there. And let's get right into the show, you guys. So Bella Talks TV, top 5 reality TV moments of the week. And then I also like to do an LOL and an OMG moment of the week also. So let's get right into those first, because those are so fun to start with. I always steal that idea from the Kardashians, the peak in the pit, they would call it, or the rose and the thorn. Courtney was always really big on doing that with her family at dinner. And I guess it started because that's how Kim used to always, or Chris used to be with everybody. Speaking of the Kardashians, really quick, they did drop their new season trailer, and it's always hyped up. It's giving Taylor's new album, which again, I'm not even going to speak it. I'm not saying anything else. Just in the fact that it's like advertised to be like the greatest, best thing, like going to break the internet. Like they're exposing everything this season, like, best season ever, best album ever, whatever. It's giving the same thing, and then it's giving like a little bit. It's usually like a little bit of a letdown. So you can't build it up that much, and you have to manage everyone's expectations. But they're still coming back, and they're throwing Caitlyn into the mix. We've got Caitlyn Jenner showing up. We have Rob, who I love Rob. And you guys, I just saw a scary headline too when I was scouring for, the most talked about headlines of the week to make my list for the countdown. And I just saw a thing that was teasing that Rob and China are getting back together. They can't. They won't. They can't. They won't. Could they? Could they though? After that whole lawsuit that Blac Chyna sued the sisters, remember? Oh my gosh, she lost. But how do you ever show your face around them again? You can't. You just can't. So, okay, so that leads us into our LOL and our OMG moments of the week. So let's start with my LOL. Like, who doesn't love to just LOL all day long? I'm such a millennial. I'm so full of millennial cringe that I just LOL at the end of all of my sentences, all of my texts, all of my everything. And my LOL of the week this week got to go to Cookie, my new star, my new fave member of the Real Housewives of Potomac cast. So I didn't know Cookie had anything. I did not understand who Cookie was. And, she was introduced into the group, and it was unclear. I think I even heard a couple other people like misspeak on their podcast, like who exactly she was friends of. She's Karen's friend. She's here to be Karen's like kind of mouthpiece. And also I think she is a genuine and authentic friend of the group. So everyone feels very comfortable. Ashley, Giselle, etc. speaking about her. Now, when Cookie shows up to these events, these cast filming events, and she's mic'd, like obviously we know she's there to either deliver something from Karen or just in general comment on Karen's well-being. And she says, oh, Karen's been working out. She's been reading. She's, as we know now, Karen is out of prison. But at the time of this being filmed, Cookie's kind of there letting the girls know like Karen's doing great. Everyone's respecting her and calling her Miss Karen in prison, and she's doing great. So everyone's relieved to hear that. But then a big bomb gets dropped at the end of the episode when Cookie's sitting there with Giselle and Ashley, and they're speaking about Stacey. And Ashley Darby reveals that Stacey has been trying to hook up, whatever that means. I mean, we know that is like the most vague term ever, but hook up with Chris Samuels, who is Monique Samuels' ex-husband, previously of seasons 1 through 4 of Potomac. I enjoy Chris Samuels. Actually was somebody who, this may be no surprise because real Bellas know that I am a self-aware misogynist queen. No, I'm not a misogynist queen, but I just know that I have some tendencies here and there. But anyways, in that divorce with Monique and Chris, I tended to take Chris's side is what I'm trying to say. I don't really like Monique, and I really don't like Candace either. So it wasn't like a Candace fan thing. But when this gets revealed, the way that Cookie just reacts authentically, you can tell she's not acting in any way. When this gets revealed to her, she goes, say what? And just the way that she snaps her neck around. Perfect time to plug the YouTube. Snapping her neck around, just the way she says, say what? It is so funny. She's a star. I need Cookie. I hope she's throughout the whole season. Is she an official friend of? And is there a world where Cookie could be a Real Housewife of Potomac? She's giving me everything that I need in a friend of, where it's like, you have nothing to lose and you might as well make a splash. Just say what's on your mind. So I'm really enjoying Cookie. And it doesn't mean I don't like Stacey. Like, she's obviously a foe to Stacey. She's coming in hot, talking about this Chris Samuels thing. They're talking about Stacey's breath a lot, talking about how Chris Samuels can't have that odor up in his house. It's mean. It's mean. And a lot of people are talking to about how Andy had that game on Watch What Happens Live where it was like Stacey's bad breath. Diabolical. So yeah, that was my LOL of the week though. And I hope you guys agree and that you guys are just enjoying Cookie and not taking her that seriously. Like if I see any Cookie slander, I will not be happy. Let's move on to my OMG of the week. When it comes to this, sometimes it's something jaw-dropping, something shocking, and sometimes it's like just something that makes you cry. And this week, it's more of the crying kind of OMG where I'm just sobbing and I can't believe what's going on. I can't believe my body's like emoting like this from reality TV. But Dancing with the Stars really has gotten me this season. I don't know if it's just the cast because I did feel so connected to so many of the cast members going into it for the first season ever that I'm just totally, and I don't know if too, of course, it always depends. Like, ladies, am I right? Where you are in your cycle. And like, I'm about to start any second. So I'm like, is that why I'm crying to every one of these dedication songs? Because I was sobbing. I had to like get myself together to record because I was watching Dylan Efron and his little sister dancing and crying, watching Alex Earl and her little sister and crying, Andy Victor crying, Jen Affleck and her mom crying, even Connor and Whitney, which you guys, okay, can we talk? In the words of Danny Pellegrino, pull the car over and talk about this for like 45 minutes. Whitney and Connor are America's most vulnerable couple. They're like the next Spencer. No, I don't want to say Spencer and Heidi because they're on their own planet. They live in Spideywood. There's something so deep about them. Okay, so coming on to Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, which again, you guys, season 3, is it about to be season 3 or 4? Like, am I delusional? Season 3 is coming out. November something? No. Yes, November. It's the day that BravoCon comes. So in a month. In 1 month, it's premiering. So, we have 2 of the girls on Dancing with the Stars. We have Whitney and Jen, who have both had very emotional, traumatic marriage storylines where both of their marriages have been very close to divorce. And then they got back together and both decided to have a third child. Very similar. And then now it's like, okay, we kind of low-key hate your husbands, but now we have to like accept that you guys have got back together and continue to grow your family with them. So they're not going anywhere. So now we have Connor and Zach that are both serving the same purpose on Dancing with the Stars. Now, Whitney's dance was where Mark Ballas is playing the idea of fame and he's kind of trying to keep Whitney and Connor apart. And I'm thinking a lot about how the beginning of this show got started because Secret Lives of Mormon Wives started filming. Connor and Whitney were living in Hawaii. And it was right after Taylor Frankie Paul came out on TikTok about the swinging scandals and came clean. And everybody thought Whitney and Connor were part of that. And they have said multiple times they were not part of the Taylor stuff. And, they had nothing to do with that really. But that they had their own scandal going on, which was that Whitney went through Connor's phone and found that he had allegedly Grindr downloaded on his phone and had messages and potential meetups with men. Now, on the show, they famously changed it to Tinder and they didn't confirm that he was having these relationships, but it's like we all know. So that's like another layer of this dance is that Mark Ballas is playing fame, but he's also a guy and he's also coming in between Whitney and Connor and like trying to break them up. So, Whitney and Connor are together and they're enigmatic. I love to watch them dance. I think that they would be so fun to see. Like, I don't know, Whitney needs to be on Broadway. She needs to be the next Roxy Hart in Chicago or something like that. I need to see her. I would love to even see her as Glinda in Wicked. I don't know if she can belt like that, but I would love to see that. So we're going to have to wait and see, how the rest of Dancing with the Stars turns out. Ilaria was the latest one bullied off the show. Those are her words. She was just voted off like every other person that's been voted off of any show ever. No one's getting bullied off, but leave it to her to make it about herself being the victim. And oh yeah, Alec Baldwin also got into a car accident with Stephen Baldwin, who lives in my neighborhood. Stephen Baldwin is from where we live now. So very interesting that I'm like, should I be like looking for Haley and Justin out here sometimes? Like he crashed the car more towards in the Hamptons, but I'm thinking coming from, because this is right after Hilaria's dismissal and they were heading out to go to their Hamptons house. So this world we live in. So, okay, that was my OMG cry of the week, was watching Connor and Whitney and all of the other Dancing with the Stars dedications. And I'm really interested to see who's going to win this year. Like, do you guys think it's going to be Alex Earl? Do you think it's going to be Dylan Efron? Could it be Whitney? I think Whitney's going to do what Ariana did, probably get third and still have a very great showing from that. But I don't see her winning. I see Alex Earl winning. Okay, so let's take a quick break here and then we'll get into my top 5 countdown. Again, like, who are we if we don't just draw inspiration from other artists that we, get all of our motivation and inspiration from? But obviously Danny Pellegrino is a huge one of mine. I'm always talking about his podcast and how I really like model mine after his a little bit, obviously with a spin on my own of it being I don't recap. I don't go run through every line of every show and talk about what's going on. This is more of just a brush up on what's going on in reality TV. It's more of a news show, I would say. More of a list show, a news show, something like that. So it's definitely not the same like style show at all, but just the way that he weaves in like little clips and stuff, or he has his soundboard. I put together a huge soundboard last year and I don't think I ever used it, but I need to really blow the dust off of that because how fun it is to just intertwine these random things. So yeah, thinking about Dr. Wendy and her family this week. That's not on my countdown. I talked about that on my episode that I released last Saturday. So go listen to that if you want to hear me talk about Wendy and Eddie and all of my thoughts. But let's move on now to my top 5 countdown. I've got a couple of really good things on here. So my number 5 most talked about moment of the week is the Laguna Beach reunion. I am a Laguna Beach girly. I'm a Team Kristin girly. I don't want to hear it. If you are Lauren Conrad, if you're a Coles girl, this is as serious as Charlie versus Taylor to me right now. Like I can't, I won't have it. I will not have any Kristin Cavallari slander in this house. Okay. Is she MAGA? Potentially. Is she Maha? Probably, again, potentially, allegedly. Okay. But if we can accept other people too, for, you can't cut everyone out of your life because of that reason. And Kristin is iconic. She is iconic. She's like a Snooki. She's like a, Teresa. I'm just trying to think of like iconic Nene, like these people that you just seen, like reality TV queen. That's who she is. Kristin is amazing. Now, Kristin is from Chicago suburbs. Before she moved to Laguna Beach, when her parents got divorced, that is the lore of Laguna Beach, of Kristin Cavallari. So when I was a senior in high school, she was also a senior in high school. We all graduated the same year. And then my first year in college, it was just synonymous with the show, what I was also going through. And I remember being my freshman year in my dorm, living on my dorm floor, and the girl across the hall from me would have Thursday night Laguna Beach, like in my dorm. There'd be 8 girls on her futon all watching Laguna Beach together. And those were the days. Those were truly the days. So I have Laguna Beach just near and dear to my heart. I was obsessed with the hills. I watched all of the city. I even watched the reboot that came out of the hills. That was just Spencer and Brody. And when he was dating Caitlyn, who was Miley Cyrus's ex, and like that whole, I think that was around COVID time. So like a lot of things that were greenlit around that time ended up getting canceled. So I don't really think it's their fault. I would watch any show with Spencer and Heidi on it or Brody Jenner on it, to be honest, but it's no longer. This entire reunion was filmed for Roku, which I found interesting. And I like Roku. I've actually was always like a Roku user. I now have Apple TVs, but back in the day, I had a Roku TV or two, and I really have got to get my hands, though, on watching this reunion. I'm not sure when it premieres, actually. Let's find out, because it just filmed, so I don't think it's coming out for a couple of weeks. But let's see when it's supposed to air, because I am kind of curious. So it's going to be airing, it just says scheduled to premiere in 2026. So it doesn't actually have a premiere date yet, so stay tuned. And it's going to be the original cast of Lauren Conrad, Kristin Cavallari, Stephen Colletti. And I'm like, I laugh so hard sometimes about just Stephen, and like that whole era. Do you guys remember when they went to Cabo? Like, you're not a Laguna Beach fan. Like, how dare you if you do not know what I'm talking about right now? When they go to Cabo and she's dancing on the bar and Stephen calls her a slut, Kristin, we're talking about. Okay, justice for Kristin. They also have Lo Bosworth, Talon, Trey, and Dieter all going to be there too. And then I think the Jessicas, remember the two Jessicas? I believe that they should also be there as well. So stay tuned for when that's going to be premiering. But what broke the internet over the weekend was after filming, it looks like Lauren and Kristin, I don't know if the rest of the cast were all together or not, but they posted a picture to Instagram, Lauren and Kristin together. The feud is over. I know I was just talking shit. I mean, I guess I need to forgive Lauren. If Kristin can forgive her, so can I. But they posted a picture together hanging out after the reunion. Looks like at someone's house. So if they were hanging out like that off camera, that's a really good sign that they've really buried the hatchet. And a lot has changed. Like when I was living in Chicago and Kristin Cavallari was living there, and when she was still married to Jay Cutler, I was at dinner with them at the same time, which was so crazy. So you would find it so interesting, some of the stories from those times. I feel like that's why I have a weird connection to them. Yeah, very interesting that they filmed the reunion and that it's going to be coming out, I guess we're going to have to wait till 2026. So hopefully it will be early 2026 that gets to come out and we all get to see the reunion. Honestly, AI, like usually they call it like fluff. It'll just automatically cut this out. Like it knows, which is cool. Okay, God bless. Husband problems comes down. This is what happens when you record from home. But soon, when we do have our whole house renovated, which we've only done about half of it so far, we clearly haven't done our kitchen yet, which is where I'm sitting, and everything looks old as fuck, and dusty and crusty. But we're doing our best over here, doing one room at a time. And my podcasting room, when it's done, you guys, it's going to be iconic and beautiful. So just be patient with me. And all my YouTube watchers, I'm sorry you've seen me in so many different, I was laughing because I'm like, you guys have seen me in so many different apartments. You've also seen me in so many different hairstyles. Like I change my hair all the time. And I know that I'm weird about that. I've done that my whole life. Like I constantly need to change. So I need to make like a thing of the last like 36 months of all my hair. I look crazy out here. I look like I'm in like witness protection. Okay, so let's get back to my countdown. Again, we left off at number 5, Laguna Beach reunion, K-Cav, Lauren Conrad reuniting. Love it. Love to see it. Number 4, most talked about moment of the week. This is kind of random, but it just means a lot to me. And we need to talk about what's going on with Ariana Biermann because, okay, I love her. I'm obsessed with her. I don't know. She was always so cute and fun on Atlanta Housewives, being Kim's daughter. But Brielle, too, always got so much attention. You know, Brielle was so beautiful and she was just always Kim's mini-me. And Ariana always was different. And it was definitely more of like the black sheep of their little. Now, her and Hudson broke up, which makes me so sad, you guys. If you watched Next Gen NYC and you got a little bit more attached to Ariana Biermann this summer, kind of like I did, you're really going to be sad to find out that this couple is broken up. They've been together for a really long time. And in my head, I was thinking like, wow, couples that meet when they're like 13 very, very rarely stay together for the rest of their lives, like truly 1D forever. And I think that's actually beautiful. Like, no shade. She doesn't seem like if she doesn't need if a monogamous partner, especially because she doesn't have a relationship with her father. She's now seen Croy step in as her stepdad and adopt her legally, and we've seen how that has now ended up. So I don't think that she has, necessarily the most stable relationships with men. And this makes I think that this was her like proving to herself, proving to the world that like she it's either like healing a childhood wound or something. They're trauma bonded together, maybe. Now, Hudson comes from a very rich family. I'm talking very, very rich, billionaire rich. His dad created Zaxby's, which is a Southern fried chicken fast food restaurant place, kind of like Raising Cane's. So they are very rich. And I think Ariana probably in the long run thought to herself, okay, Hudson, like, this is it for me. We're going to be together forever. They moved to New York together, etc. But he's giving me some kind of other vibe. And I'm not 100% sure. I guess I don't know like that much about him, but there is something about the types of guys that date the Biermanns, right? Like it's like Kim, Brielle, and Ariana from what we saw on Next Gen NYC, like they're alphas. They are the alphas. So the men that they choose are just interesting beta type personalities. Hudson, I think super cute. Obviously comes from a great family, but there was something soft about him that I think maybe she would benefit from just dating. You're in NYC now. She's moving in with Riley. She's going to be Riley's new roommate. I'm all for this transition for her, and I'm so excited. Now let's talk about Kim for a second again. Let's circle back to Kim because Kim was just recently exposed because she was at her son, one of the boys, when Kim has Cash, KJ, which is Croy Jr., and then she has Kaya and the other one, the other small one. So they were at one of their sporting events and Kim got subpoenaed. She got served at one of these games. And this is because she is allegedly dating a man who is still technically married, and his wife is divorcing him on claims that he's cheating on her with Kim Zolciak. So now she's been subpoenaed to come to their divorce settlement agreement, whatever. I mean, I've never been divorced and I'm not a child of divorce. Thank God, bless everybody who is, I hear you, but I'm just saying I don't have any knowledge really about this, about being divorced and what goes on. But apparently it's illegal and it's a breaking of your contract. And if you get divorced, if you get cheated on, this wife is now like going for blood. Like she's like going to drain, because this guy's a millionaire. This entrepreneur, this guy that she's cheating with, wait, what's his name? His name is Kyle Mowitz. And this is the rumored husband of Jillian Green. Jillian Green is the lady that subpoenaed Kim in the divorce battle. And Kyle is basically just a super rich entrepreneur, kind of like hedge fund guy that invests in, looks like pharma, like big pharma stuff. We know Kim is MAGA and she's MAHA and she's all the things. Again, I don't let that determine whether or not I love a housewife, because a lot of these housewives I've loved before Donald Trump was even running for president. So how am I going to not like them now? Like I can't base who the president is on who I like some of these housewives that I've been watching since 2009. So just couldn't be me. But I understand some people that's very important to them. It's just for me and my ethics and morals in life, that's not the most important thing to me, is if whether or not somebody's MAGA and if they're on the reality TV shows that I watch. As long as they're not talking about it, supporting him and spreading his propaganda like Kelly Dodd would or something, then I'm okay with them. Come on and do your job and be a housewife and shut up about it. I don't need to know who you voted for. So anyways, this divorce battle is insane. If they have $100 million, this wife wants 50 mil at least. Maybe she wants 100. She's been cheated on. She wants to leave this guy with zero. So this is going to be a very nasty divorce. And the fact that Kim ended up in the middle of it is just iconic. And if she's not in the next season of Real Housewives of Atlanta, like what are we doing, Bravo? We understand she's problematic, okay? But bring mama home. Bring Kim home to us. We're begging. I'm literally begging. When I say we, I mean me, but like I speak for the Bellas, right? We want Kim back. Okay, so that's my number 4 most talked about moment of the week. Ariana and Hudson breaking up / Kim's divorce battle. My number 3 most talked about moment of the week is another thing that I'm just so grateful for. These are the moments that this is what I do. This is why I do this. This is why I do this. McBee season 3 has been renewed. Cameras are up today, Thursday, October 16th, because Steve McBee was just sentenced to 24 months in federal prison for insurance crop insurance fraud. Federal crop insurance fraud. Say that 10 times fast. But that's what he did. And he has to pay $4 million in restitution. So we know the entire family was there at the courthouse today. I haven't seen any pictures yet. Like I'm dying to see photos or video from this entire thing. We know, again, Bravo cameras were there because everybody basically, like eyewitnesses, et cetera, people throughout town have heard and seen that it's coming back. And then yesterday, Steve McBee Jr. confirmed it on his Instagram that Bravo has renewed it. And then today was the sentencing. So we're going to see all the fallout from Steve getting sentenced. We're going to see him going away. Like I don't know if he had to report today. I mean, remember when Karen Huger got sentenced and she had to immediately be taken in handcuffs from the room? Oh my gosh, where were Bravo cameras for that? Was Steve McBee? We don't know. I don't know if he reported. He probably has time to go back and get his affairs in order for a couple of days. I think that's usually how it works. Okay, anyways, that's huge news that he's going to prison. Another Bravo celebrity has been sentenced to prison. This is insane. It truly is insane. So I hope that he's learned his lesson. I hope that he never uses insurance money again, just like the Asefos in nefarious ways. We're going to need everybody to clean up their side of the street when it comes to their insurance claims on Bravo. Please and thank you. Okay, my number 2 most talked about moment of the week is Love is Blind. Again, season 9. They just dropped a couple of new episodes yesterday. Episodes are always new on Wednesdays, and they dropped a few new episodes. And episodes 9 through 11 are diabolical, just like episodes 1 through 8 were. And in these new batch of episodes, we have a couple of breakups. We have our first couple officially breaking off their engagement. We have Nick and Annie. If you guys remember talking to me last week about Annie and how I feel about Nick, just, go back and listen if you haven't caught up from my last week's episode yet. But now, again, spoilers, if you didn't just hear me, Nick and Annie have broken up. Annie has another insane drunk fight where she's just spiraling and talking in circles and making everything a fight and just being super toxic. And I think that this is the definition of gaslighting, right? Like that's what we're seeing. So she's gaslighting Nick. They're just trying to eat their Taco Bell when they're drunk. Nick's like, I just want to eat this chalupa. He literally says that verbatim. He is again, one of the most self-aware queens we've ever seen on reality TV is Nick. He just always says exactly what he's thinking. He's so open and honest. He's like, can I please eat my chalupa? Can you please shut up and just let me eat my Taco Bell? We've been drinking. So I do think it's like alarming. I guess this is what happens. And again, like no shade to anybody out there listening. I just am generalizing and speaking again, just thought this is a stream of consciousness here. But when people get married in their 20s and they're still like in that partying phase of their life, like that would be really hard. I didn't get married till I was 36. I'm like over it. Like it's time to settle down. I don't know if I would have been able to get married back then because I probably would have been having these drunk, crazy fights all the time with my spouse. So I'm really glad that I skipped over that era of my life, but watching other people go through it is very interesting. It's literally little hairs in the back of your neck are standing up watching Annie fight with Nick. Finally, he just says, like, I'm done. Like the next day when they're sober, he's like, I can't do this. The thought of marrying you sounds like the worst thing in the world. I'm out. She tries to convince him the way she's talking to him. She's like, you can't do this. You can't say no. And he's like, you literally can't force me. Like he's starting to get aggressive. Finally, it's done. We've all been released, though, from the torture of Nick and Annie. Then we move on over and we're like, oh, let's go check in with Joe and Madison. No, actually, what the real layout of the episode is that they're doing their tux shopping. And this is the true episode. If you guys have been watching Love is Blind since season 1, this is where the couples start to fall apart every single time. Because what starts to sink in for people is like, okay, now all of my friends and family are coming. They're flying in for this televised event. We're getting dresses. We're getting hair and makeup. Everyone's like, at this, it's basically the point of no return, or it should be. It should be the point of no return. But as we know with this show, the real point of no return is the altar. You can say no any second up until the altar. So the earlier these people call it off, the better they are, because that's the smart thing to do, is just rip the Band-Aid early. If you're not feeling it, you know you can't get married. Let's do it before you get your Nana on a flight cross country to come and see this thing blow up in everyone's face. Joe, I think, finally has this epiphany. He's trying tuxes on and he just has had it. Producers are trying to ask him questions. He's like, I'm done. He doesn't want to wear a tie. He doesn't want to wear a tux. He's just had it. So he goes out, he gets in his truck, and he peels off. And that is the last time that we see Joe. No, it's actually not. He sits down with Madison the next day, and then they break up because producers are really good, at least at like not letting them walk off for the most part, like getting an exit interview. So they get Joe to come back with Madison. They officially have the talk. Madison is crying, and I think some of these people that go into this, they are 100% just fully in it. And that's what I see with her. I don't fault her. She was just in the experiment. She was 10 toes down, 100% in, diving headfirst into the deep end, ready to take Joe as her husband. So the fact that he couldn't match her energy, I don't blame Madison. I think she's lovely, and I think that she's going to find someone else. But, many have led before her in this scenario, and she's going to be okay. I know she's going to be okay. To make it to Jordan and Sparkle Meg, they've been my favorite couple, and I think the only couple I've been kind of low-key rooting for. I talked a little bit about Megan and just some of the smoke and mirrors, I think, and just the way she leads with her wealth is very interesting. Not 100% sure. I mean, wealth is subjective. So, yes, to Jordan and to maybe a lot of these other people on this cast, she may be like a big baller, but I'm curious, like, where she really lands in the world. I digress from that conversation, though, just to kind of speak about the fact that when they have their tux and dress shopping moments, you can see Meg's like in it. I think she looks beautiful, and I think she's ready to take on Jordan and Luca both as her new family members. However, Jordan is starting to disconnect a little bit. And you can kind of see the light behind his eyes dimming a bit. And I think he's starting to get a little comfortable. He's starting to get a little complacent. And then maybe the mask is starting to slip a little bit. Because it seems like if Jordan's not being a single dad or having that be like his whole personality, he doesn't really know what else to talk about. And I think Meg's starting to feel like, okay, shit, like we're having a lot of nights where like he's just like low key not speaking to me. And also, it's not like ignoring me, but just a lot of nights in silence. Now, as a married woman, I love these nights. Night in silence, sign me up. But I know to a new couple that wants to get engaged and is trying to fall in love, they've only known each other for 2 weeks. Like, it's too early to be doing that kind of stuff. And Jordan's, I think, again, I think the best way to put it is, again, the mask slipping. I think that he chose Meg for the money. I do, because I think that if she would have been smart enough to be in the pod and not be talking about that, then she would have been able to find a real, genuine connection. But I think the scary thing for these people in the pods is that the longer the days go on and you're only there for 10 days and you need to be engaged by day 10, which, did you guys know all the couples get engaged on the same day and they all have their reveals on the same day? Isn't that interesting? A little bit of behind the scenes Love is Blind tea. But, I think that they're just all starting to get close to realizing in the pods, like, okay, I think Jordan and Meg, you got to kind of pair up. You got to kind of choose at the end there. The way that just really opened my eyes, learning that they all got engaged the same day. Like, there's really no stronger couples than anyone else. And they all kind of get spit out into the same way when they get to Mexico, and the things that happen, and the way they all start drinking and hanging out in Denver and living in the same building, and just the way things unfold in this show. Chaotic evil too, not chaotic good. So yeah, all of these new Love is Blind episodes are insane. I mean, Calabria and Edmund, I was really rooting for them. Calabria really she reminds me of a lot, and I don't know if she's a Virgo. And again, no shade. I love a Virgo. I have many Virgo friends, but she's giving that because I've seen all of my friends do this same thing too in their relationships. So, not to Virgo generalize, but it's this idea that, like, if your man isn't anticipating your needs, or if you don't believe he's really listening to you when you're speaking, like, this idea that you better tell him, you better make him. And it's like, you literally can't force somebody to care about what you're talking about. You have to just find somebody who naturally does. You cannot force this. That is like what chemistry is. Chemistry is somebody giving a fuck that when you're talking, they're listening. That's like what chemistry is. It's like they care. It's like a very general way of just being, they care. Like, people talk about bids for attention. Like, when you start speaking to your partner and they don't put their phone down, divert from what they are doing, turn body language, like start to like give you like that they're listening, it ain't the one for you, because you're talking about a lifelong partner. Like, you need somebody who, even if you're going to just lean over and say, I'm hungry, they're about to be like, me too, babe, I'm hungry. Let's pull up Uber Eats. Like, you need, real love exists. Like, look for your person that's like that with you. So these Love is Blind people, I don't know. Those are the questions I would be asking. Like, when I'm hungry, what's your response? Because if your response is, you figure it out, or like, I know you do, like, I can't always be figuring it out. I can't always be choosing what we're going to do. So I need someone a little more collaborative, naturally, who's going to be, I'm hungry too. You know what? I've been thinking about noodles all day. Hell yeah. You want Asian noodles or you want pasta noodles? All right. These are the conversations I like to have. So, Love is Blind. Everybody overcomplicates everything and they just are out there doing the most and they all just want to be famous. So, of course, you got to throw that little wrench into the experiment as well. So, that's my number two most talked about moment. You guys have to go watch those episodes. Run, don't walk. My number one most talked about moment of the week is kind of a random one, and it's just going to be like an overall number one thing, which is going to be the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City getting the US, or I was going to say the US Weekly, but the Us Weekly cover for Reality Stars of the Year. This is a special issue that's always distributed by Us Weekly every year. Us Weekly is a big part in being connected to reality TV and the Bravo sphere, Bachelor Nation, and above. So I really think that them choosing the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City as the number one stars of the year. I mean, John Hamm, Ben Stiller, John Oliver, and beyond. Okay, Kristen Wiig and Amy Poehler. You know, it really started with Jerry O'Connell. Like there have been people out in the streets being soldiers for Bravo for many years, and now we're really getting the most eyes ever and the most attention ever as Bravo fans. So it's time that we really do like give Salt Lake City their flowers, because I'm hearing it's the new Roni. Like word on the street is that they're the new Roni. And they're going to, you know, Roni went on for many, many seasons. I believe they had 13 before, or no, I think 13 was the first season of the reboot. And then 14 was last season. So this next season would be season 15 of Aroni if it were to ever happen. Salt Lake City is killing it. I'm obsessed with this show, but like I don't worship the people on this show like everyone else. Like I do think the fans of this show are delusional, just like any of the franchise. The franchise always has like the 1% that are the loudest and the weirdest on Bravo, on Twitter and on Instagram, that are just like Lisa Barlow stands that are scary. Angie stands that are scary. I feel like if you are just a Meredith fan or a Mary fan like me, like we just ride in the middle. We just enjoy. We're just here for like lulls and for the plot. We don't need to be always like the Bravo fans that love the housewives that dig stuff up and get like private investigators and stuff. Like that is a specific type of Bravo fan that I don't fall into. Like I even have a podcast and I don't care. I barely Google things. I go off vibes most of the time. So these people that like really go the distance to have lawyers and PIs and whatever to like dig stuff about each other, that's scary to me. That's not the kind of housewives I personally like. So I really don't want to see Salt Lake City end up like New Jersey, where things get like irreparable and go too far, you know, to the point of no return. I'm loving Salt Lake City. I loved Meredith's denim flower. I'm sorry, just like how I loved Gretchen's Bo Peep confessional look, even though I hate Gretchen. Just love Meredith's fashions. I'm loving Whitney Rose being very authentic this season. I'm loving Lisa and Angie feuding, because it is giving like, oh, I've been holding this back for years and like now I'm just foaming at the mouth. And I've had fights like that with friends. So it's giving like authentic friend fight. And I am hoping though that, of course, by the reunion, they find their way back to each other. And I feel like, you know, Heather and Mary, they've been kind of just background players. Brittany, like I don't like Brittany, but I don't hate her. I'm enjoying this season. So yeah, you guys, that was my number one most talked about moment of the week. The fact that they did that Us Weekly cover, and it's also in the style of Desperate Housewives and like giving a nod to Desperate Housewives. I loved it. And also people being like, oh, Angie's not in it, Mary's not, or Angie's not on the cover, and neither is Bronwyn. That's because they didn't start the show. They're not OGs. That's why Mary, Heather, Lisa, Meredith, and honestly, where's Jen Shaw? Jen Shaw's got to be like reeling in prison today. Like, I should be on the cover. I should be on the cover of that. Okay, I'll leave you guys with one fun fact. If you saw on Watch What Happens Live, Whitney Rose, she said that in prison, Jen Shaw has been producing a Housewives play and that Elizabeth Holmes has been playing Whitney Rose. Don't you just love that? Don't you just love that? I know I do. Okay, you guys, have the best week ever. End of your week, weekend. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Ciao, Bellas.